morning, everybody. I'd like to call to order the October 27th meeting of the Nassau County Planning Commission. If you could please all rise and join with us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. John, would you please call the roll?
Sure. Commissioner Warren.
Here.
Commissioner Sakowicz.
Here.
Commissioner Kaladi.
Here.
Commissioner Gold.
Here.
Commissioner Foreman. Commissioner Ellerby.
Here.
Third Vice Chair Lewis.
Here.
Vice Chair Greenfield.
Excused?
And Chairman Shapiro.
Excused. So, members of the Commission, I'd like a motion for acknowledgement of receipt of our transcript from our last meeting, which was on October 6th of 2022. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
A second.
Motion is seconded. All in agreement, please say aye. Any opposed? Not seeing any. Transcript adopted. Let's move to item B on our calendar, which is OSPAC for disposition. This item is not subject to public comment period. The public comment period has been closed. Yes. Oh, thank you. Yes. So for those of you that are here that would like to be heard today on any of the items, first of all, there are both agendas, but there's also a form we ask you to fill out so that we have your name. It's over by the table where you see the partition, I guess you would call it, around it. And so please do fill that out and just hand it to our staff that's at the table here. And we'll be happy to have you heard. But for this first item, it's not open to public hearing. So let's move to OSPAC 3 of 2022.
Correct. OSPAC File 3 of 2022. This is property at Inwood, Town of Hempstead, adjacent to 8 Monroe Street in Inwood, New York, 11696, Section 40, Block 184, Lot 338. Nassau County is requesting permission to sell the above referenced subject property to an adjoining owner. Nassau County DPW approves the release without condition. If approved, the staff recommends conditioning the sale on merging the tax lot to an adjoining owner's lot. At the September 14th, 2022 OSPAC meeting, the committee approved the sale 4-0 without condition. Today we have Nick Sarandis from Nassau County Deputy Attorney's Office if needed.
Yes, why don't we ask Mr. Sarandis to come up. Some of our items are more complicated than others. This one looks like one of those slivers between properties. Yes. You want to speak to it?
Okay, Nicholas Sarandis, Deputy County Attorney. We were approached by the one neighbor who there's a driveway in the property at the moment. It's probably one that was probably part of one of the two houses that adjoin it. The property next to it is an abandoned house. So this is the only functional house that's attached to the property. DPW has said there's no DPW facilities on the property, so there's no county interest in the property. It's probably one of those properties that was probably one of the lots and had a separate tax lot, which resulted in a county tax deed many years ago, and we were approached by the owner of the non-abandoned house to they just want to use it for their driveway and to establish that it's their lot. During the nature of what we said earlier in pre-meeting with one of the other ones, after we get the approval to sell if we get the approval to do this, we're going to do a sealed bid letter to both there and obviously the abandoned house, which you probably have no interest in it. And we established the value, but like we said before, usually from the assessed valuation of the property, because it won't result in the ability to expand the house or the ability to tear down the house and build two houses. So usually we establish a value based on the assessed valuation.
So you're anticipating that a common question might be, well, what is a property like this worth? It seems a little hard to figure that out, but you do have a formula and a process that
Yes.
you've used in the past. And we do have a process here at the county. This is real property, so it's a big deal. The decision lasts theoretically, forever once it's put
Yes.
onto the deed. So we go through several steps, and
Yes.
this is not the first step. We held a hearing here. We closed the hearing. We sent it to OSBAC. We're going to hear about other items that are going to be going to
It's
OSBAC.
already been through OSBAC twice. It's been introduced at planning the last time. and
But
now
also,
it's this.
when
It's
you-
still got to go to the county legislature for their approval.
This is not the last step. The county
No.
ledge gets the last step, but also there's some work that you do in between here and the ledge in figuring out the actual price and going
Yes.
through that bid process, because it is a sliver between two properties. In
Yep.
theory, both property owners would get a chance to
That's right.
express interest. Okay. Is there any questions from any members of the commission?
Is it your intention to require as a condition of the RFP or whatever sale process you go through that the successful purchaser incorporate the sliver lot to their existing tax lot?
Yes, we do inquire, I don't know if we make it a condition, but we strongly encourage the owners of the property to merge the lots, and we will assist them in making that application to the assessment department. Because years ago, we had many instances where somebody would buy a lot from the county, don't do the merger, forget to pay the taxes on the sliver property, and 10 years later, we've noticed that we've taken tax deeds again, or the tax liens on it, and I get bills because sometimes but we sort of like obviated, we cleared up some of that by doing the recording of the deeds ourselves, and not, because years ago we just used to give the deed to the person who bought it, and they would never record it.
Okay, so I'll take that as a yes.
Obvious, so we record the deeds ourselves. We get the fees for the recording fees from the property owner. So this way we know that the assessment rolls have changed, so they're getting the tax bills, and
Well,
if they merge the lot, all the
I
better.
think it's appropriate at our stage that if the commission wants to make that a condition that the lots be merged as part of our recommendation to the legislature, I think that's an appropriate motion that could be made.
Yeah, we have no difficulty with that.
Any other questions? Not seeing any. Would anybody like to make a motion on OSBAC 3 of 2022 for disposition?
Motion to approve OSBAC Case 3, 2022, for sale of a sliver property to one of the adjacent neighbors, subject to the successful bidder incorporating such sliver into their tax lot. Do I have a second?
Okay.
I got a second on that.
And we have a second. So all in favor of the motion to recommend the transfer of this property with the condition on it being merged, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not seeing any. There's no need for a roll call vote. The item is approved. Thank you. John, next.
Just need a motion to open the public hearing, please.
Okay, and we could make this motion for all 4 items that are up for public hearing today. Would someone like to make a motion?
Make a motion to open public hearing.
Okay, motion seconded.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. All in favor of open to public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the hearing is open.
This is OSBAC File 4 of 2022, property at Old Bethpage, Town of Oyster Bay, Old Country Road, Section 47, Block E, lots 749D and 749E. Nassau County is requesting permission to grant an easement on the above referenced subject property to the Town of Oyster Bay, so the town may provide an access road to adjacent soccer fields. Nassau County DPW approves the release without condition. At the August 10th, 2022 OSBAC meeting, the committee tabled the application to allow time to figure out who owns the surrounding lots and get additional information of what exactly is being asked by the Town of Oyster Bay. 749D and 749E is owned by Nassau County. 750A, 750B, and 750C is owned by United States Postal Service, and 754A is owned by Beechwood. At October 6th, 2022, Nassau County Planning Commission meeting, the Commission adjourned this case to October 27th of 2022. Here again from Nassau County Deputy County Attorneys is Nick Sarandis. I also believe Town of Oyster Bay representatives are here. Never mind, it's Kevin Walsh from Nassau County Attorneys.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kevin Walsh from the Office of Real Estate Services for Nassau County. As John mentioned, this is a request from the Town of Oyster Bay for the grant of an easement to access soccer fields and ball fields in the vicinity of the Beechwood property. There is originally an access, I wouldn't call it a formal road to spec, but a way to get to this, and this will enable them to formalize that access to safely grant access to the ball fields. So, any questions? I believe the Town of Oyster Bay also has a rep here.
Yes, we're very interested in hearing from the town, but before we do, if you could just put on the record, why does the county own this sliver, and is the sliver serving a purpose that would present a need for the county to hold on to or deny the
DPW reviewed, went to the site and actually reviewed records. There's no county need for this parcel. It looks like way back years ago, it might have been intended to be a portion of a road that never was completed. Perhaps Bethpage Parkway, I believe. So this is actually just kind of again, in a weird sense, kind of a sliver parcel that kind of cuts through a property that goes through property owned by, as John mentioned, the Postal Service. I think years ago there might have been a plan to build a new post office there, which never materialized. So now we're just trying to provide safe access, working cooperatively with the town for this. Okay. And I believe for the town of Anthony Curcio, Deputy Town Attorney, if there's any questions for the town.
Yeah, that would be great if we could have the town go on the record. And first, if you could state your name for the record.
Sure. Anthony Curcio, Deputy Town Attorney, Town of Oyster Bay.
And just looking at the image up on the screen, the town property is, do you want to say where that is? It's to the sort of right-hand side of the sliver, is that correct?
The Postal Service property is to the right and the left, I believe.
Oh, okay. I was under the impression the Postal Service was to the left and the town property came in at the right.
In order for us to access the easement, we have to purchase the property that the Postal Service currently owns. So right now we are getting an appraisal on the property. Our appraiser came out there on Tuesday. The Postal Service already has their appraisal. Once we get ours, we're going to negotiate some terms to purchase the property from them, and then we can go forward.
And, Postal Service, federal government, big agency, are they meeting with you? They're cooperative? They're talking? This is something that hopefully could happen?
Oh, absolutely. They've been more than open with us. They already got their appraisal. They notified us of everything, so they've been in constant contact with us.
They're not using it. There's no post office there. Maybe there was a plan in the past for something, but right now it's an empty lot. Is that correct?
That's correct. There actually is a post office across the street, so they really have no use for it at all at this point.
Okay. So your goal is what? To provide access to ball fields. That would be, a good thing in terms of the public having access to the ball field.
Correct.
And we see a road on the image there. The road sort of crosses or intersects the county sliver that Nassau County has control over. So your first option is if you can get control of the road from purchasing it or some agreement with the post office, you would then ask that you're able to go over that sliver by getting an easement from the county. Am I following it correctly?
Exactly, correct.
And for the purposes of the hearing, there's sort of an option 2 that might come into play. Do you want to speak to what that is? This seems like the preferred option that we just heard, but
the preferred option was the access road that's already there. I believe this one here is the one that goes through the woods there. The road that we have already set up, there's a curb cut, there's street lights there, there's already a dirt road there. That's the preferred road we'd like to use at this point. That's where the Postal Service property is. This makes it a little more complicated, and I believe the open, I forgot the name of the.
The Open Space Committee, yeah.
They weren't too happy with us chopping down any trees or.
Well, I
making
think
road
that's
out
a
of this point.
logical reaction. We got a road in
Yeah.
one place, whereas the sliver that the county owns looks like it was intended at one
It
point
does,
to
yeah.
be a road. But right now, it's got all trees on it, so why cut down the trees if we could use
Right.
the road that's there?
And I think ultimately, at the end of, once we purchase the property from the Postal Service, we could talk to the county about this and kind of merging the property together, making it one big, adding it to the town property. So it just provides access to a larger field at that point, since there's no use of, apparently, for the property.
And so you mentioned OSPAC. So part of our tradition process here is that OSPAC only meets once a month, so they get like a heads up. So you already went apparently to the previous month meeting, but officially, if we close the hearing today, it's when it's presented to them and they're asked to vote. So we just wanted to clarify that. So it's sort of two bites. They get to hear it's coming, so they can kind of look into it. Maybe they want to see the site, that kind of thing. So you got an initial reaction, and the initial reaction was, hey, can we avoid cutting down those trees, which is part of their purpose.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's good. Commissioners, are there any questions regarding or comments that you may want to make for the purposes of the record that we're creating on this?
In our work session, Legislator Walker had wanted her comments, I think, made public.
Yes, good point. Would you?
Hi. Yes, I spoke to Legislator Rosemary Walker yesterday. She was opposed to the second alternative. She didn't feel that the county should grant an easement to the town to build a road on county property, that instead that they should use the town's property instead.
Okay. So good. I'm glad we put that on the record. And not seeing, is there any other questions or comments? So yes.
Just so we're clear, the road that runs a straight parallel line is the preferred plan, not the county road.
Exactly.
Just to clarify that.
Yeah, the existing road, which was pointed out, whether it's officially a road or not, it basically looks like a road, but a little bit, not well kept and such, but it's currently on land owned by the Postal Office. You're in discussion with them. So that's the preference, to use that. It does cross the county's easement, the county's property, and therefore you're requesting from us an easement of that portion that crosses. Maybe there could be even a further conclusion after all that of trying to merge the properties, but yes.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
Can we just get permission based on Plan A on that? I mean, one, okay,
Yeah,
so we're
only
not even addressing
And
the
today
second
it's just a
option.
hearing, so
No,
we're not voting on anything.
But what I'm saying is, and we're only addressing option A.
Well, I think
No.
when the item
Option
comes,
B.
my answer to your question, your first question is yes. When it comes back to us, we could choose to make our recommendation purely for option A.
Good, okay.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, not seeing or hearing anybody, do I have a motion to close the hearing on this item and send it to OSPAC? Do we have a second? Second. So, all in favor of closing closing the public hearing on OSPAC file number 4 of 2022, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not seeing any? Okay, so the item will go to OSPAC. I do invite you to attend that meeting if you can. They often have questions.
When is that?
Third week in November.
Third Wednesday.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. So the public hearing is already open for number 6, so we'll continue.
Next aspect case is 6 of 2022. Property in East Meadow, Town of Hempstead, 832 Merrick Avenue, Section 50, Block 272, part of Lot 272. Cornell Cooperative Extension is requesting additional land to build a dynamic learning center, demonstration gardens, and displays that are designed to provide hands-on educational opportunities to the residents of Nassau County. They would like to amend the existing license agreement to include vacant land that was previous residential structure that was demolished. Nassau County DPW approves the amendment to license agreement without condition. At the October 12, 2022 OSPAC meeting, the committee requested a draft amendment and license agreement with a fact sheet. Here today to speak on this application is Kevin Walsh, also representatives from the Cornell Cooperative Extension.
Great.
Good morning again, Kevin Walsh from the Office of Real Estate Services. As John mentioned, this is a request from Cornell Cooperative Extension to amend our current license agreement to provide an opportunity to add to their licensed premises a property where a former house had been and then had fire damage and was demolished, to build a new dynamic learning center. I'm going to let some of the Cornell representatives from Cornell Cooperative Extension of Nassau County, board members, and Executive Director Greg Sander are here. Sorry.
Thank you, Kevin. My name is Greg Sandor. I'm the Executive Director of Cornell Cooperative Extension of Nassau County, and thank you for having us today. We're excited to show this rendering of expansion. We've been at the property, as most of you know, for 12 years, providing hands-on learning, and we have, because of a substantial donation from a company in the community, the opportunity to build a new hands-on dynamic learning center that would, the vision is to really incorporate our existing demonstration gardens into more of a learning classroom to kind of connect the land and the building more. So you can see from the rendering, that's the vision, and the building that was there. We had a lot of complaints from the neighborhood with it was burned in a fire, so we're grateful that it's been demolished. And this building, as you can see, the vision is to fit into the neighborhood, to have a green roof, solar panels, and native plants. And I also have Ronald Lanner from H2M as the architect. If Ronald, you want to say anything?
Just if there's any questions.
Yeah. We appreciate you both being here. We've heard very good things about the work that you do on behalf of the public and part of Nassau County, or an important part of Nassau County. I follow some of your work. You really have a great team out there. We also did ask real estate that, as a current licensee with Nassau County, that everything is good in terms of the relationship with the two. And so the request to both amend and extend the license is something that they are very supportive of. So this is all good. It's great to hear the details of the plan. And it sounds like a dynamic proposal, if I dare. Really exciting things. This, like the other item, will have to go for discussion with OSPAC, and I'm sure they'll be very fascinated by what you'll tell them about the plans for the site. They'll get into a little more details than we may do here today. But with the hearing open, do we have any questions for our licensee, or any comments from any members of the commission? Yeah, so if we just put on the record, so the license would be extended to how long? And the relationship would be that the new building is going to be paid for with a donation to the organization, but what's the county's relationship and all that? The county owns the land. Can you just explain that relationship?
That's correct. The county owns the land. The current license agreement expires in 2030, the end of 2030. We'll be doing a license amendment to extend it for another additional 10 years, giving them more time to recoup. And also, just want to point on the record, the county has a matching grant program. So, as Greg mentioned, he's getting significant money donated for this project, and to the extent it's can be matched, the county's had a program to match, for example, many parks facility projects. So, for $1 raise, I believe the county matches $1. And it's in the county's, actually, this project is included in the county's capital plan being proposed. So it's supported by the county.
I think we said East Meadow, but did we put the site? What is the site of this? What is the location of this site?
Yeah, it's in East Meadow. It's on the corner of Merrick Avenue and Ludington Road. Kind of, when you're going south of Hempstead Turnpike, where Merrick Road Merrick Avenue splits. It's right kind of just past the split on the right. And been there many years. We acquired this property. I can't the exact year I did the closing of this, about 2009. Used to be known as Frugie's Farm, way back in the day, for people may recall.
And so the architect is here. Just very quickly, can you just describe the building? I'm pleased to hear that there's, a lot of the projects that come before us, like warehouses and things like that, almost none of them have solar on the roof or any of these kinds of innovations. So you just put that on the record.
Sure, yeah. The features that are proposed for the building is solar on the roof, as well as some green roof areas also to demonstrate some sustainable options for the community. So it's more to, it's not only to be sustainable, but to also educate, is a major portion of the building. So some of the displays inside the building will probably communicate that information. People will be able to learn about that as well.
And let's just...
one of the main features on this is for repurpose, reuse, and recycle. And the proposed building is proposed to utilize shipping containers, single-use shipping containers, as the basis of its structure.
Very interesting. And so let's maybe wrap this up with just who is this for? So can you just speak to the question of who are invited to participate as part of the learning experience that is run by Cornell at this site?
Yeah, great question. The other thing I wanted to clarify, we've been in business since 1914, so 107 years, not just at East Meadow Farm. In the county, serving the residents. We serve the entire county. We're real proud of that. We like to say we want to include everyone in our educational work. So at East Meadow Farm, we are open to the public. A lot of residents just walk in and take a peek at the gardens, but in general, we have a 4-H youth development program. We have a large master gardener program with over 150 master gardeners, and we serve anyone. We're always thrilled to share all the different work that we basically, our mission is to bring down world-class research and knowledge from Cornell and put it to use in what I love in a hands-on fashion. So instead of just talking about it, get out, get our hands dirty, and make things happen. So we're real proud of that, and we imagine, obviously, that's why we're calling it the Dynamic Learning Center. We want to make impact and change and actually have that happen inside the building, but then bring the work out into the garden. So we really imagine a hands-on feel where you're connected to the 2.5 acres that we've been managing there for 12 years now.
Okay, thank you very much. So we can have a motion to close the public hearing on aspect 6 of 2022.
Just before you do that, I just wanted to put on the record that OSPAC changed their calendar to help Cornell Extension with their timeline to get this approved. So they are, I guess that's showing that they're kind of on board with this.
Okay. So they accelerated their meeting schedule?
They pushed, yeah.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve, to close the hearing of the OSPAC 6-2022 hearing.
Okay. And do we have a second?
Second.
All right, motion made and seconded. All in favor of closing the public hearing and sending this item to OSPAC, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? My apologies. Come on up. Yes, you are allowed to speak. Absolutely. My apologies. I didn't get the form. Did you fill out your, okay. Come on up to the mic. Give us your name. So normally what we do is we just ask people to fill out a form, but I didn't make that as clear as I could have it earlier. And once I have the form in front of me, I know someone wants to speak. Is there anybody else, just show of hands, anybody wants to speak on this item? Okay, one more. Okay, so yes, we would very much like to hear your comments. This is an open public record. Yeah.
Thank you very much. My name is Jeannie Osias. I live across the street from this property. And I just had a couple of questions. Hours of operation. What are the hours of operation?
If you can keep going with your questions, and I'll ask that they all be answered too.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure, just the hours of operation and days of operation. Will this be an ongoing evening classes, daytime classes? And I know it's difficult to anticipate the amount of people that will show up for this building and these courses, but do they have an estimate of people that will be there, and where are they going to put them all, cars-wise, parking?
Questions of the overall impact of the use of the property, okay? Why don't we get the other member of the public that wanted to be heard to come up first, and we'll ask the applicant to come back. So, the lady that raised her hand, would you like to come on up?
I live next door.
If you could just give your name for the record.
Hi, my name is Leona Montfort, and I live next door. And over the years, I of course I haven't logged it, but I found that they're expanding, and I understand that, and I see the good in it. But I have to tell you that for all of the people they said that are there, and when so often, practically all the time, if I've made a phone call about whatever, no one picks up the phone there. So I don't find them, I only find them accessible in there's a small window and I find these people accessible to me. And also I would just like to say the record, it's passed, but you've owned the property since 2009, and I think it was 2011, there was a tractor on the property, and I was home sitting in my dining room because I had just come home from cancer surgery and couldn't go out, and I watched this tractor knock my fence down, and nobody took responsibility for it. Eventually, they put up a fence because I was complaining about they were putting the trash against the fence, But when they initially knocked it down in 2009, and then there was heavy rains too, when the rains kind of covered up the tracks, they totally denied it, and I actually watched the tractor do that. So you won't be working on my side now, I don't think, unless you're adding any more concrete, but it really left me with a bad feeling towards the farm.
Okay, so I'm gonna thank you for those comments, and just explain once again, there's no decisions being made today. Today is creating a record for the process. The final decision will be made by the legislature. So if we could ask, yes, Cornell's representative to come on, Cornell Cooperative's representative to come on back up and see if you could address. So we had a couple questions about the scale of use, like hours of operation, where people would be parking, how numbers, if you have any idea of numbers, and then also some more specific questions about, accessibility, that if there are questions about concerns from the neighbors, who they could contact, and some specifics of past problem with the fence and construction that was done.
Sure. So first, with the use, we don't really see the hours changing. We've been there, 12 years, and basically we're open from 8:30 to 5 every day. We have about 5 staff that work there, and the door's always open. I mean, we are closed, half days on Mondays because we have diagnostics for plants on Saturdays. But in general, it's fairly quiet. The police do park there in the evenings, which is a great thing. We had a lot of compliments from the neighbors on that. And then we do have some classes and workshops during the evening, usually inside, with the large room that we have, the education center that's already there. So I don't really see the hours changing. As far as space, we envision a lot more school groups arriving, and not really filling the neighborhood or anything, but just being able to offload into either the big classroom or the new dynamic learning center. We do have an existing parking lot, and then we also park on Ludington up against the property often. As far as the fence with the neighbor, I apologize. I wasn't here then, so I don't really have to take the heat on that, but I can say under my leadership, I've been here 10 years, we went ahead on our own dime and just put up a new fence, brand new fence, to make it look good and take care of the problem. Obviously, we let staff know to be sensitive to neighbors, and we're always trying to do our best. So we're there to take anyone's complaints, concerns, and try to make it better for the community. And the third thing is our main headquarters is at Eisenhower Park, so it's a lot easier to get full admin support there. But usually at East Meadow Farm, there's always staff there.
Okay, and so two things I'm going to ask. One is that perhaps you could meet with the neighbors before you leave here today and just discuss some of this with them and perhaps exchange phone numbers so that there's opportunities for access in the future. And secondly, I'll say to the two neighbors that the meeting of OSPAC, which is the Open Space Parks Advisory Committee for Nassau County, that is an open meeting also. So it's a small group meeting. It's not a big room like this, but they're all volunteers, and but they do look at questions about how the parks are run and things like this. So you should be aware that if you wanted to attend that meeting, you could also attend that meeting. And I want you to be aware that it will come back to us for a vote, and then it will go to the legislature, where the legislature will open it up to questions and answers and comments from the public. So there's a couple of steps in the process here. Today was just one part of that process. I do thank you both for coming down and raising the concerns you did. They're in the record now. And as you heard, I did ask, and the Cornell Cooperative representative is offering to stick around and talk with you a little bit. That's one of the good things about the room in the back. You can sort of stick around and chat there if possible. Okay? So we're going to... Yeah. Okay, so this is the kind of thing I'm going to ask you to talk about after the meeting.
If you're going to have a party for whoever it is, and you're blasting music so loud, even though it was daytime, my windows were shaking this summer.
Okay. All right, thank you. So I'm going to come back to the commission and see if we can restate a motion to close the public hearing. Do we have a motion?
Motion to close the public hearing, HUSPAC 8/2022.
Is it 8 or
No,
7?
6. 6 of 2022.
Okay, and do we have a second on the motion?
Second.
Okay, all in favor of closing the public hearing and sending the item to OSPAC, indicate aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you, everybody.
Next file is OSPAC 7 of 2022, property in North Merrick, Town of Hempstead, east of 1111 Verbena Avenue. In Merrick, Section 50, Block 369, Lot 25. The proposal by the adjoining owner is to purchase the approximately 346 square foot county property as described on the GS property description, which they have fenced in and been occupying as part of their property. Nassau County DPW approves the sale without condition. Nick Sorans is here to speak on this application.
As we mentioned at the pre-meeting, and this property is a strip of property in the back of a certain residence who has fenced in the property since he obtained the property, thinking it was part of his property, and at one time it was, because there were two tax lots similar to the issues we mentioned before on the merging of lots and all of that, which is what didn't happen, so that we eventually took the property by tax deed to county, and we were approached this year by the gentleman to purchase the property to secure his interest in it. As I mentioned before, we allowed him to maintain his fence there until determination was made on whether the sale would take place.
So
like
the county's being reasonable in the sense that the fence right now is on the county line rather
That's
than
correct.
on their own
And
property line.
to avoid him having the expense of doing both and then replacing it. And obviously, if this doesn't pass the legislature and all the most, then we will make different determinations regarding the use of the property. But as I mentioned, the cost of the property will probably be the assessed valuation of it, which I think is less than $2,000 at this point. And obviously, we will encourage, as we said with the other one, that the lots be merged after lots be merged, so to avoid the similar problem with the taxes and all of that. Obviously, the property will go back on the tax roll. And because, like I mentioned before in the connection with the other item, that the addition of the property will not create any additional rights for the property owner to subdivide the property or anything like that to make additional monies or whatever.
No, it's a small sliver, as we could see from
yes.
the image. So let's see if we have any questions on this. Any members of the commission have any questions? Any comments? Otherwise, I think we got it on this one. Let's see if we can have a motion to close the public hearing and send this to OSPAC. Oh, I'm sorry. Any members of the public want to be heard? I have a comment sheet filled out for someone for item 48, but I don't have any for on this. Is there anybody that wanted to be heard?
In connection with that, I understand that Kevin or somebody had spoken with the neighbor in the back at one point who had what? Oh, that was a different one? Okay. No, not on this one? Okay.
I make a motion, aspect 7-2022, close the hearing.
Second.
Favor say aye. Any opposed? Okay, not seeing any. The item will go to OSPAC, and that is the end of section C, or our public hearings on OSPAC.
We have one more.
Oh, I'm sorry. We have number 8. Excuse me.
OSPAC File 8 of 2022. Property in Searingtown, town of North Hempstead, east of 57 Stratford, south in Roslyn Heights. Section 57, block 259, part of lot 3. The proposal is to lease an approximately 3,000 square foot portion of the property for additional parking to the adjacent shopping center. DPW approves the lease without condition. Kevin will be here. Kevin will present the case.
Good morning again. Kevin Walsh, the Office of Real Estate Services. This is a request from a owner of a small strip mall on Willis Avenue to acquire some vacant county land to add some parking for the parking lot. This property is adjacent to a county's sewage pump station, and it's not needed for those purposes. But just in case there's ever an access need in the future, we're going to be granting a lease, or we're requesting to be able to lease the property so we could maintain some element of control if we would happen to need back some access.
And although it kind of is more akin to an actual sale, but you're saying a lease because as a parking lot, you could always sort of take it back in the future if there was some issue. But really, it's more about just being able to get in there for the pump station. And
Correct. DPW recommended this could be released through a lease as opposed to a sale disposition, and the sale disposition would also entail additional steps like subdivision, etc.
Right. Okay. Do any members of the commission have questions or comments regarding this? Is there any members of the public that would like to be heard regarding this proposed lease? Okay. Not seeing any. Ask for a motion to close the public hearing. Send the item to OSPAC.
Motion to close aspect 8, 2022.
Okay, motion made.
Second.
And seconded. All in favor of closing the public hearing and sending OSPAC 8 of 2022 to OSPAC, please say aye. Any wishing to oppose, please indicate so. Not seeing any. Item is approved and sent off to OSPAC. Public hearings closed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Section D of our agenda today is an extension of time to file resolution for major subdivision application. Public comment period is open. This is map of Country Club developers, property at Incorporated Village of Roslyn Harbor and Glenwood Land and the hamlet of Glenwood Landing, the town of Oyster Bay. This is north of 720 Mott's Cove Road North, Roslyn, New York 11576. This application received preliminary and final subdivision approval on November 16th of 2017 and September 21st, 2021, respectively, of a 3.44 acre parcel into 6 single-family residential lots, ranging in size from 15,192 square feet to 19,594 square feet. According to the applicant's attorney, this is a dual jurisdiction map. The applicant has now submitted all bonds and fees and obtained the map. The applicant submitted same to the Planning Board of the Incorporated Village of Roslyn Harbor and is awaiting execution and return of same for filing with the county clerk. Staff's opinion is to approve this application and extend the time to file the resolution of final subdivision approval to March 27th of 2023. Here today is Dominic Minerva Jr. to speak on behalf of his applicant.
Sorry, not Dominic. On behalf of the applicant, Minerva and D'Agostino PC by Albert A. D'Agostino, 107 South Central Avenue, Valley Stream, New York, 11580. This is a dual jurisdiction map, and as I'm sure you're aware, some dual jurisdiction maps have a tendency to develop a life of their own. The initial subdivision of the overall parcel went back to, I think, about 2003 or 4. In any event, we've gone through the entire process at the village. The engineers, our engineer and the village engineer, met at the site, supposedly resolved all issues. For whatever reason, the village engineer has not yet signed off, and he has to look at his notes again. This is a process that's been going on for a number of months. We're obviously trying to keep this alive while we, and it appears to be totally a ministerial or clerical issue, hopefully once he reviews his notes and what was agreed upon. So that's the basis for our application.
And this is just the first extension that you're seeking?
I believe so, yeah.
And it'll be till April 1st of 2023.
An appropriate date with this one.
Okay. Commissioners, does anybody have any questions on this item? This is an item that's open for public comment. Is there anybody in the public that wanted to be heard on this? No. Okay. Not seeing any. Do we have a motion to extend the time for filing to April 1st of 2023?
Okay, wait, I'm being corrected by Mr. Parak. It's only a couple of days, but March 27th would be the correct date? Okay.
All right.
It would be to March 27th, 2023.
Thank you, Mr. Parakis. We want to get it right. Absolutely. March 27th instead. All right. Do we have a motion? Okay, so moved. Do we have it seconded? All right, motion made and seconded. All those in favor of extending the time to file deeds into March 27th of 2023, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, please say no. Not seeing any. The item is approved. Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, our minor subdivision applications.
Yes, this is NCPC file 48 of 2022, which was adjourned from the October 6th hearing. This is an application for a 2-lot subdivision at 3748 Maryland Drive, Hamlet of Seaford, Town of Hempstead Residential B Zoning District. This is a 13,001 square foot area subject property in the Town of Hempstead's Residence B Zoning District. The application proposes to subdivide the property, which has 112.52 feet of frontage on Maryland Drive, into 2 separate parcels. Lot A will have 56.26 feet of frontage and be 6,682 square feet. Lot B will also have 56.26 feet of frontage and will be 6,318 square feet. Town of Hempstead Department of Buildings has issued a letter of zoning compliance for the proposed minor subdivision, and the application is considered as of right. Here today we have Chris Brown along with his applicant who are prepared to answer any questions from the Planning Commission.
Hi, good morning, Chairman, members. Christian Brown, McLaughlin and Stern, 1122 Franklin Avenue, Garden City. We're back here before you on this minor subdivision that Mr. Hessel has covered. I think last time there were some questions and a request that my client be here. He's here, Mr. Marasco. Essentially, though, it's this existing dwelling would be removed. entirely, and in its place would be 2 new single-family homes. They're fully zoning compliant. I have copies of the site plan here if you'd like to see it. I think there was a concern about, this is a non-conforming 2-family, I think, so there was some question about that. The 2-family will be gone. There's no zoning issues whatsoever with what's proposed. These are, as I said, single-family homes, fully zoning compliant, and the lots are, in excess of the minimum lot size for the area. So unless there's anything further, we'd ask you to approve the application.
So I want to thank you that at the last meeting it was requested, and the attorney, one of your colleagues,
yes,
spoke and agreed to adjourn it to this date, and we want to thank your client, the applicant here, for attending today in the event that there are questions. Let me ask if there's any questions of the commission. We want to hear from a member of the public, and may I ask you to come back up
Sure.
after that.
Thank you.
Okay. So I have at least one member of the public wishing to speak. If there's any others, please raise your hand or come forward. So Charles Woodham.
Well, good morning. Most of our queries were just answered because we were worried about the type of house that was going to be put onto that property, whether it was going to be multi-family dwellings, right? And last time we were here, they were told to reach out to us. It didn't happen. I reached out yesterday, and I did get a response pretty soon after I reached out, but unfortunately I didn't pick it up till late in the day. Our block is a quiet residential area. It's unfortunately a bus route for the schools. We get like 50 buses going down our block early in the morning. And we were worried about parking on the street, that if this was a multifamily dwelling, that would put 8 more cars on the street and cause a lot of congestion on our block. But apparently it's going to be 2 single dwelling houses, and there's not much we can compare about that unless all the cars are going to be on the street. If there's no, like there was no apron in the plan for the other house. So I was wondering, will they be on the street? Will they be parking on their property? I don't know. But now I can speak to the owner. I haven't met him, which he's owned the house for a year and a half at least. But we're the type of neighbors that take care of each other. When his garage was on fire, one neighbor was putting the fire out in the back. I was inside pulling the gas cans away from the wall. That's the type of people we are. We take care of each other's property. One of the guys is sick. We've cut his lawn. We rake his leaves. We just take care of each other on the block. And we wanted to keep that type of neighborhood relationship going there. And actually, in the house now, I face the side of the house. If you look at the picture there, I see the chimney, but that's going to be gone. So I guess that's kind of nice. And the garage is going to be gone, but I really don't care about that either. We were just concerned about what the dwelling was going to be, how it was going to impact the parking on the block, etc. Of course, it is one of those neighborhoods. I mean, we all get out together. We play badminton during the summer, all the neighbors. They take it easy on me because I'm the old guy, and I'm the retired guy, so that's why I'm here today, speaking for everyone out there. But it's just a tight block. And actually, the tenant he has living there, one of the tenants, he comes out and plays cornhole with us during the summer. He's my partner. We're not that good, but that doesn't matter. I'm the weak link on that team. So, yeah, I can meet the neighbor who I've never met. And as long as we know that it's going to be a single-family home, I don't think any of my neighbors are going to have that much of a complaint about the house going up. Not that they would have a right to, I guess. But, yeah, I'll meet the neighbor for the first time. I know he owns another house in our town, so that's congratulations to him. All right, I have nothing else to say.
I just want to say it's going to be 2 houses.
All right, 2 houses on there, but 2 separate lots. And the good part is, I assume I'll be looking at the front of the houses. Of course, the way that this is laid out, where it says Maryland Drive, that's where my house is, on that side of the street. It's kind of upside down if you look at it. But, yeah, I've lived there 41 years, and the woman next door to me has lived there 62 years, and the person next to that lived there 50 years. So everyone on that block, with the exception of what will be their direct neighbors, has lived there over a long period of time. You know, so we're well established, and it's a nice neighborhood.
I think the question last time was the house that's there now remaining? I think that was the big concern.
Exactly.
That we didn't know, and I think that was answered immediately with his thing, so I think the neighbors should be happy, and we should move forward.
All right, that was my concern, and they answered it, so.
And
Thank you very much.
As a member of the community, we appreciate you coming not just once, but to 2 public hearings and raising your concerns, and hopefully this was a helpful process that you were able to get your concerns addressed. So,
It actually was.
yeah. Good.
Imagine that.
Look at that. Imagine that.
Imagine that. It actually was. No,
Okay.
I do appreciate the work that everyone's done here. Once
Okay.
again, you know, our neighborhoods have to be kept.
No, we
You know,
understand.
We don't want to turn into Queens.
Absolutely. There you go.
All right. Thank you so much.
Okay, so let me ask once again, was there any other member of the public that wanted to be heard? If not, let me ask
I'm
you.
the only retired guy, so I
Chair, if you may I just ask Mr. Brown one question?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Oh, there you are.
Let's ask him to come back to the podium.
Just as, you know, if we grant the subdivision, obviously it just allows the 2 lots to be created, but just as a condition of the resolution, would your client accept the fact that the existing house will be demolished?
Yes.
Thank you.
And both houses have identical driveways. They're 33 feet long, and each house has a garage attached as well, interior garage.
And so 33 feet long driveways means there is opportunity for the off-street parking.
Correct, plus the garage.
Plus the garage. Very good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So, commissioners, not seeing anybody else that wants to be heard, do we have a motion on 48 on our minor subdivision agenda?
Motion to approve NCPC minor subdivision file 48-22, subject to removal of the existing improvements.
Okay. Motion made.
With a negative deck?
With a negative deck.
Yes, thank you.
Motion made, and any seconds?
Second.
Okay. Motion made and seconded. All in favor, please say aye. Ma'am, I asked several times if there was anybody else that wanted to be heard. Did you want to be heard on this item?
Is this Port Washington or? Oh, we haven't called that yet. You're good. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, we clicked ahead a
That's
little
okay.
bit. Okay, so let's finish the vote on this, and we'll give you that opportunity in just a moment. So, I asked if everyone was in agreement. I had a yes. I was just asking, was there anybody opposed? Not hearing any. So, item 48 is approved from our minor subdivision calendar. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to do item 29 of 2019. And so just a little bit out of order in order to move ahead with a couple of people that are here representing the county. So if we can bring that item up, number 29.
Thanks. Yeah, this is NCPC file 29 of 2019, an application from Nassau County for a 3-lot subdivision at the northwest corner of Jeffrey Avenue and Wheeler Avenue in the unincorporated area of Uniondale, right by Mitchell Field. Town of Hempstead Residential B Zoning District. This is a 24.5-acre subject property situated south of Stewart Avenue, northeast of Nassau Community College, hamlet of Uniondale, Town of Hempstead. Application proposes to subdivide the property into 3 separate parcels. Lot 1 will be 15.24 acres. Lot 2 will be 18,175 square feet and will be sold off to a private owner. And then Lot 3 will be retained by the county along with Lot 1, and that will be 8.77 acres. Case was previously known as OSPAC case of 19 of 2015. It was also approved back in 2019 by the Planning Commission. However, the extensions of time have all run out, so that's why the county is back to finalize this application. Here today we have Matt Crane from Nelson and Pope, and we also have Kevin Walsh from the County of Nassau.
Good morning again. Kevin Walsh from the Office of Real Estate Services. As Greg mentioned, this was a previous application that had been before your body in 2019 for the minor subdivision of these buildings referred to as these out parcel vacant old utility buildings that are not in use anymore. We've actually been through the process, this full process, in the county legislature, who's approved the contract of sale to sell this. It'll be back on the tax rolls, and this is just to complete now, because of the expiration of the time, the subdivision, so we can record the deeds and close, and you can get an idea from the pictures what these properties are.
So, dilapidated or just not in great shape?
Yes, we affirm dilapidated outbuildings. They became a problem because they've been abandoned, basically, and vacant. And the purchaser was approved by the legislature. Actually runs a local auto wreckage towing business, and he's been actually in the community as a business in the Wild Service, the veterans community, just to the east of this, not too far away. So it's going to be taking care also, I would say, of a blighted property.
And since Representative Nelson Pope's here, let's have him make an appearance. If you give your name and...
Good morning. Matthew Crane, land surveyor, partner in Nelson and Pope. Okay. From a ministerial standpoint, we're updating the survey for the land division. We've updated the radius map, and I can give them to you today. And we'll be submitting the updated subdivision maps in the same form, but updated for any changes.
Okay, and for both of you, there's basically no change to this application from what was previously approved?
Correct.
Okay. And, okay, that's, I think, my main question. If there's nothing changed, hard to see any reason we would handle it differently than we did a couple of years ago. And you've also indicated it's already gone through the legislative process.
That's correct. Thank you.
So, okay. So do we have any questions? Is there anybody else, anybody from the public that would like to be heard? Not seeing any. Do we have a motion for 29 of 2019?
I'll make a motion for approval for NCPC minor sub file 29-2019 with a negative declaration.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a second? Second. All right, motion made and seconded. All in favor, please indicate aye. Any opposed? Not hearing any, the motion is approved.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, so now we'll go back to our number 2 of this section of the minor subdivisions, which is file number 50 of 2022.
This is NCPC file 50 of 2022, an application for a 2-lot subdivision at 21 Bellevue Avenue in the hamlet of Port Washington in the town of North Hempstead's residential C zoning district. This is a 10,000 square foot area subject property situated on the northeast corner of Bellevue Avenue and Franklin Avenue. Application proposes to subdivide the property, which has 100 feet of frontage on Bellevue and 100 feet of frontage on Franklin, into 2 equal parcels. Proposed Lot A will have 100 feet of frontage on Franklin Avenue with a depth of 50 feet and will be a total of 5,000 square feet. There is an existing home on Lot A that will remain. And then proposed Lot B will have 50 feet of frontage on Bellevue Avenue with a depth of 100 feet for a total of 5,000 square feet. Town of North Hempstead Board of Zoning Appeals has approved the request for variances for Lot A where the existing home is. You have the variance to legalize and maintain a home on a new lot created by a subdivision, which is too close to the street and secondary front yard, with side yards that are too small, that are within the sky exposure plane, and with a ridge that is too high and with an eave that is too high. And then for Lot B, no variances were needed as the lot was considered zoning compliant. The existing home will have a portion of its existing structures, paving, and miscellaneous items removed in order to incorporate, in order for it to not go over the subdivision line. Here today, representing the applicant, we have Bruce Miggett.
Bruce W. Miggets, law firm Albany's and Albany's, 1050 Franklin Avenue, Garden City, New York. Good morning. It would have been far easier for this applicant to tear down this house and build 2 new single-family houses as of right, but they wanted to preserve this house. This is an older section of Port Washington. This house was built sometime in the early 1900s, and the owner wanted to preserve it. So the variances have to do with mostly pre-existing nonconformity with the existing house. The only variances that are created by the subdivision is the side yard that is adjacent to the new lot is short. 5 feet required, 3.15 feet is proposed, and it also creates a slight sky exposure plane variance. The other variances, like I said, are to maintain the existing house as prior non-conforming. The new house the new lot conforms to the zoning. North Hempstead did grant the variances, and we request that this commission approve this application.
Could you just clarify for the record? I may not be the only one here that's a little unclear. What is a sky exposure plane variance?
I made an exhibit, pictures worth 1,000 words. Let me hand that in if I may.
Okay, thank you. That would be great. Marty, maybe you could share that with the commission.
It has to do with a plane that is created mathematically with the setbacks and the height of the building, and the building is not supposed to encroach into that plane. So what I have highlighted in yellow is the portion of the existing building that encroaches slightly into the sky plane.
Same one.
And that variance was granted.
So it's not that the part of the roof extends over the property line.
No.
It's that the way you're showing it here with this yellow, it's an angle that comes into play. It's interesting, you know. I'm always learning here at the Planning Commission. No matter how many years I've been here, every so often we get something I hadn't seen before, so I was just curious about it. But this, of course, was discussed at the Zoning Board of Appeals for the variance.
Yes, and then their opinion was that whoever buys the new lot is buying it subject to knowing this existing house is there and it's not quite set back far enough.
Right.
So it only affects, that side will affect the person who's purchasing the house. It doesn't affect any neighbor.
Correct.
Anyplace else. So that's,
correct.
That person's going to be aware of that.
Right.
Okay.
At the public hearing, was it a unanimous vote? Were there members of the public that spoke? Were the concerns addressed?
The vote was unanimous. Nobody opposed it. I think there were 1 or 2 questions asked, either by email or I don't think in person, I'm not sure. But there was no opposition from the community. They had a few questions to what was being built.
And did you make this an exhibit for us to keep, or do you want this back?
Yes, you may have that.
Okay, thank you. Is there any member of the public here today that would like to speak on this application? Yes, actually, I do have your name, Michelle Brazzini. Please come on up and give your name and address.
Hi, my name is Michelle Bazzini, and you want the address? I'm here about 10 Evergreen, which is around the block. So I got the letter. To address the town of North Hempstead, and I did send something in, I think it was by email, and she said I was 1 day late in sending my email, and it took her 3 weeks to send me the email telling me I was 1 day late. So I did oppose. I didn't know, I don't think I was either around or didn't go to the meeting, and I wish I had, because there's so many things that the town of North Hempstead does with these variances, and they need to build and stay within the code. The code is there for a reason, and why is it being violated? Question: who's building the house in the lot that's not the right size to build a house in the new lot? How big is the house going to be? What about that setback?
I think Lot B, is it Lot B, the lot that's going to be built on, which is zoning compliant. It's the old house.
Right, but aren't the properties too small for the, isn't, by subdividing, the property size is too small for to divide equally into
No,
two
it's
parts?
not too small. It doesn't abide by setbacks because it was built before a lot of the rules. So it's not too small, actually. It's
There was essentially an option of whether you tear down an
they could
existing
tear
building.
this house down and build two houses.
So the subdividing it is not, see, I'm here for not subdividing if the property isn't the right size. You're saying
The property's the right
is the right
size to subdivide it, so they could
Okay.
bulldoze this house and subdivide it with no questions.
Well, my house was built I have two houses, one built in 1913 and one in 1912, and I know that's like, the sky plane is just vertical height, and that's no big deal. So
Right, that's the only thing.
They're actually here because they need to have the tax lots created.
Right.
So that is the purpose of the hearing today, why Mr. Miggett's client needs a subdivision approval.
Okay, sorry to waste your time. I thought it was about dividing a property that wasn't big enough to accommodate
Well,
two.
I mean, we don't want to mislead. In some respects, the variances were approved at the zoning Board of Appeals.
Yeah, but they're only
So-
setbacks.
Right, but that's where it speaks to the question of being bigger. I mean, the point was that as someone that may appreciate older homes, part of the goal here was to keep the home that's there, that is an older home, and presumably it's in good enough shape that
Yeah,
they wanted to keep
that
it.
wasn't my thing. I thought that the way I read it was that just the property was not large enough to make two properties out of it. So,
It just barely is, but the property, to do it the way they'd like to do it, to keep the home, that home is really close to the line, so it's a couple of feet short of what the normal setback would be. So that was one of the variances that they approved.
so they'll be close together.
To a certain extent, the
2 feet.
existing property will be 2 feet closer to the setback line, but the new property will be fully set back appropriately, and
Okay.
that buyer will know, that's the only person that will be impacted would be the buyer of the new house.
Okay, I apologize, I never did this.
No apologies.
No
Thank you for coming down
problem.
today. We
Okay.
appreciate your comments.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Is there any other member of the public that wanted to be heard? Not seeing any. Did you want to say anything in response
Well,
to
it's
that?
actually 1.85 feet, but we won't cut.
I was. Yes, I was.
But just the existing house is a two-family, so we're not increasing density. So we're replacing a two-family, which could be built again on 10,000 square feet here as a right, but we're building two one-families in place of a two-family, not increasing density.
So the existing house is going to be converted from a two-family into a one-family, and you're going to build a new house, which will be a one-family.
That's correct.
Perfect.
Square footage, the 10,000 square feet to subdivide, and now that reverts to a one-family house, the two-family house.
Correct.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Not seeing any. Do we have a motion on this item, which is 50 of 2022?
Motion to approve NCPC minor subdivision file 50-2022 with a negative deck.
Okay, thank you. Second?
Second.
Okay, motion is made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Not hearing any, the item passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we got one more from our minor subdivision calendar, and our attorney is recused.
This is NCPC file 51 of 2022. This is an application for a 3-lot subdivision at 608 Meadowbrook Road, the hamlet of North Merrick, in the Town of Hempstead Residential B zoning district. This is a 22,500 square foot area subject property situated on the east side of Meadowbrook Road. The application proposes to subdivide the property, which has 100 feet of frontage on Meadowbrook Road, into 3 equal parcels. Lot A, B, and C will all have 50 feet of frontage on Meadowbrook Road with a depth of 150 feet and will be a total of 7,500 square feet each. Town of Hempstead Board of Appeals has approved the request for variances for all 3 lots. You have this variances, subdivision of lot, front width from and on street line to front setback line, and construct a dwelling with a garage. This case was previously seen as a zoning referral before the Planning Commission on the April 28, 2022 hearing and was granted a local determination. Here today representing the applicant, we have Albert D'Agostino.
Again, good morning, Mr. Vice Chairman, members of the Commission. This is the application of Vertiland Homes, INC. The overall premises, which is the subject of this application, it's known as in by number 608, Meadowbrook Road, Merrick, New York. It appears on the Nassau County Land and Tax Map as Section 55, Block 20, Lots 5 through 10. Additionally, and I know I'm never remiss to mention this. This lot also appears on the map of Manor Park, filed in the office of the Nassau County Clerk on March 24, 1905, as map number 120.
So, you know, I often interrupt you and ask this question when you
fine.
say that, so let me do it again. So you're saying that that map, which, by the way, whenever you say that, it seems to me you should be submitting that map into the record. But so that map shows the lines exactly where you're proposing the lines here?
It does, but to clarify, we are here seeking your approval, but I'm reserving my rights under 334A, Section 1, Sub B of the real property law, which we don't mind submitting to the jurisdiction of the Commission, and we're making the request, but I just want to mention for the record the backdrop. That section of the real property law speaks in terms of the proposed lots have to conform to the applicable zoning regulations. This is in the Residence B district of the town of Hempstead, and the term applicable that's in that statute specifically refers to not only the regulations of the district itself, but also if they're varied by variance, that's what's applicable to the parcel.
But I'm just saying, if you're claiming the old file map extension, old file map argument as a backup to your application, then to me there should actually be an old map that was filed in the county, that was stamped, that was approved, that was accepted, and that shows the lines at exactly the place where you're proposing to put the lines. In that case, to me, okay, there is an existing map that happens to be old, that was adopted a long time ago, that shows the line. But the way you say it doesn't sound like that's what you're actually saying.
No, that's, I will expand on that. At the time that map was created, the body which had jurisdiction would have been the town of Hempstead, because, as you know, the town of Hempstead had subdivision, or the local municipalities had exclusive subdivision jurisdiction until January 12th, 1945, and that is the old map exception. But that, and we're not seeking to move the lot lines. They're exactly on what are referred to as tax lots, because the tax map reflects the old file map. In terms of having it here,
so let's move on. I think your point.
Yeah, but if I could just respond to that one, not having the map here, everything that is on file in the county clerk's office, we're all deemed to have a constructive knowledge of it, but that's the basis for the tax lots that were created. But on this one, we're not moving the lot lines at all, though that's not, that subdivision of 334A does give an applicant the right to move lot lines, but we are not doing that. So this mirrors the tax lots, mirrors the old file map, and it creates 3 lots where the old file map had 6 lots, 5 through 10, and the subdivision lines that are before you fall exactly on the lines between lots 6 and 7 and 8 and 9. The property, as I said, was subject to variances which were granted by the Town of Hempstead Board of Zoning Appeals, and the variances refer to subdivision, which was the intention of the client, and were granted for proposed front width from and on the street line to the front setback line, and to construct a dwelling with a garage on each of the 3 lots. The variances, as I said, are applicable to each of the 3 lots, and they were granted by the Zoning Board of Appeals pursuant to the ZBA files 326, 327, and 328 of 2022. The proposed 3 lots are identical in depth and frontage to the immediate 3 lots to the north and to the 2 lots to the immediate south, as well as 3 abutting lots to the east. There are 13 lots of identical size, as well as 6 lots which are smaller than those on this block, and there are also numerous lots which are smaller than those before you on blocks 31 and 32 within the 300-foot radius on the east side of Meadowbrook Road. An examination of the radius map on file will demonstrate that the Town of Hempstead Board of Zoning Appeals obviously considered and found that the proposed lots are in keeping with the character of the neighborhood, though I recognize that's not your standard, but that was what the Zoning Board found. So those lots are compliant to the applicable zoning. I just had the pleasure of meeting the owner of the property, who mentioned that she grew up in the house, and this was an old farm. This is actually the second old farm in this area that I've dealt with over the last few years. And if approved by the commission, it's the intention to obviously demolish the existing house and garage and build 3 new homes. And if there are any questions that I can answer, I will attempt to do so.
Commission members, any questions? The ZBA, was there any, was it a unanimous vote? Was there any concerns raised that weren't able to...
Everyone who voted on it voted in favor. There were three members who were not present for the vote, but the other 4 all voted in favor of it. And by the way, I'm sorry, I should have mentioned earlier, for the record, I have the certified mail receipts, which I
for the notice that was given
submit
to
for the
neighbors. Okay. Is there any member of the public that wishes to be heard on this application? Not seeing any. Commissioners, do we have a motion?
I will make a motion to approve NCPC minor subdivision file 51/2022 with a negative deck.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Not seeing any, the item is passed. Thank you, counsel, and thank you, neighbor. Okay. All right, we're done with the minor subdivision calendar. Now we have the extension of time to file deeds, and looks like we have one item.
Thanks. Yes, this is NCPC file 45 of 2021 and an application for a first extension of time. This was a 2-lot subdivision at 11 Press Street in the incorporated village of South Floral Park and within 300 feet of the unincorporated area of Elmont, Town of Hempstead. This was a 7,818 square foot area subject property seeking to subdivide with 92 feet of frontage on Press Street into 2 separate parcels. Lot A was 3,654 square feet and Lot B was 4,164 square feet. Applicant obtained the necessary variances from the incorporated village of South Floral Park Zoning Board of Appeals, which included a front yard setback, side yard setback, and lot area on Lot A, and a rear yard setback, building area, lot area, and building width on Lot B. South Floral Park Planning Board, in a letter dated June 3rd, 2021, advised Zoning Board of Appeals to take actions as it deems appropriate with respect to the application for variances. South Floral Park also approved the sale of the portion of the paper street known as Makovsky Avenue, located wholly within the village, to the applicant. This application was originally heard here at the Planning Commission on August 19th of 2021 and was approved on August 26th of 2021. Before us today for an extension of time to file the deeds. The resolution was signed on October 1st, 2021 and was set to expire after 12 months on October 1st of this year. If approved today, the new date to file the deeds will be extended an additional 6 months, and the applicant would now have until April 1st of 2023 to file the deeds. The previous approval by the Planning Commission included a condition that the applicant successfully close on the paper street that was included within the proposed site plan. Paper Street was in fact successfully closed on or about June 28th of this year. However, the e-filing of the deed was unsuccessful, and the applicant is now prepared to record the deed in person. Here today is Muzio Tellini.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the board. Muzio Tellini, 1311 Hempstead Turnpike, Elmont, New York. Mr. Hosel gave a real terrific surmise. I'm not sure I can really add anything to that other than to say we did make several attempts to e-record the deed on the paper street. It was kicked back for whatever reason by Department of Assessment. My colleague Bob O'Brien gave me a good piece of advice. He says walk it in, and we did that late last week. So far we haven't heard any hiccups, so hopefully that walking it in, and I actually called the Department of Assessment in advance and said, hey, we're going to be walking this in, it's a special deed, it's this, it's that, and gave them a heads up. So that, I think, helped, and hopefully it all goes through, and actually we made an attempt to record the deeds on this, but the county clerk kicked it back as well, pending the recording of the paper street deed. So we have to take care of that paper street deed, and then I have all the documents here to record the deeds as well. So we need a little extension of time.
So, this is essentially as of right, but it's a process that it's a way for us tracking because we don't like, things to have been approved and then nothing got filed and that kind of thing. So it's a way of sort of monitoring the process and keeping an eye on it. And so hopefully you'll get it done and you won't have to come back.
Agreed.
So, is there any questions from any members of the commission? Yeah.
Should we tell them what the 6-month date is?
Yeah, we're looking. It looks like
April 1st.
April 1st.
Remember, we had to switch the other one. It's March 27th.
I think there might have been something specific to that item.
I might have confused it. It's April 1st in this one, is it? April 1st, 2023, extension of time.
Is there any member of the public? Let me just make sure I put this out there. Any member of the public that wishes to be heard on this item? Okay, not hearing or seeing any. So I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to grant the extension.
Okay. Motion's
Second.
made and seconded. All in favor of item number 45 of 2021 indicate saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Not hearing any, the item is approved. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice day, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck. All right, Marty, you're up.
Who's the gentleman?
You want each case described?
We have 7 items. Yeah, I'm sure my colleagues would love to, not drag it out too long, but we have 7 items. Hopefully we can run through them one by one and just get it done.
First item on the zoning agenda is NCPC case number 104122, Town of Hempstead, Hamlet, Merrick. It's for area/dimensional variances. This is a substandard 2-lot subdivision. Existing dwelling and detached garage on the site will be demolished. Proposed Lot A and Lot B will each have a frontage of 50 feet and a lot area of 6,250 square feet. The residential B zoning district requires a minimum frontage of 55 feet and a minimum lot area of 6,000 square feet. Therefore, it's zoning compliant with respect to lot area, but not with respect to lot frontage. Within 200 feet of the subject property, there are 10 residential lots with frontages of 50 feet or less out of a total of 34 lots.
within 200 feet radius of the subject property along Potter Avenue, where the subject site is located, and within close proximity to the subject property, there are 6 lots out of 14 with frontages of 50 feet or less. Abutting the subject property to the east is a 100-foot wide lot that can be similarly subdivided as a subject property with the same variances. Staff opinion on this one is local determination. Any discussion?
Thank you, Marty. Any questions or comments from members of the commission? Not seeing any. Do we have a motion?
Motion on case 754, 755, two-lot subdivision to be a local determination.
Motion made. Do we have a second?
I'm sorry. Should it be NCPC case number 104?
I couldn't find that. Where is it?
NCPC case number 104122.
Yeah,
I think that's
so we would take either one, but
Okay.
it's usually a little easier with the NCPC number, but yeah.
Just for the record.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry, NCPC 104122.
very good. So we have a motion,
Determination.
and did we have a second?
Second.
And we do have a second. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Not seeing any. The LD is approved. Next item.
All right, second item on the agenda is NCPC case number 1017-122. This is Town North Hempstead Hamlet of Albertson. This is for special use. The applicant proposes to reconstruct an existing gas station on a .26 acre site. The existing convenience store will be demolished, and a new one of about 1,250 square feet will be constructed on the southerly property line. Site improvements include new parking spaces and pavement markings, new pavement and drainage, the relocation and installation of new fuel storage tanks, new pump islands, consolidation of curb cuts, new landscaping, installation of canopy, and new signage. 4 dispensers for gas will be provided, a small expansion of what currently exists. Curb cuts on Willis Avenue and Dorset Avenue, the side street, will be relocated and consolidated to provide safer ingress and egress. In addition, the curb cut on Willis Avenue will permit right turn exit only and right turn enter only from Willis Avenue. To the south are storefronts, to the east are homes, to the north is an auto body shop across Dorset, to the west is a commercial building. Willis Avenue is a county road. It's 4 lanes with on-street parking. There is a traffic light at Willis Avenue and Dorset Avenue. The case was previously before the Planning Commission on January 30, 2020. For minor area variances, the Commission issued a local determination, and the town subsequently approved the variances. The site plan now before the Planning Commission has not changed. The proposed site plan is an improvement from the older facility occupying the site and should result in safer and more efficient traffic flow both internally and externally. Staff opinion is a local determination.
Okay. Commissioners, any questions or comments? Not seeing any. Do we have a motion on this item?
Motion to approve NCPC number 1017122.
And that's LD, local determination. Okay. And motion seconded?
Second.
Okay. Motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say nay. Not seeing any. The item is approved for local determination.
Okay, case number 3 in the zoning agenda is NCPC case number 1018-122. This is within the Village of Valley Stream. It's for use variance and area/dimensional variances. This is a convert a vacant commercial building of about 2,800 square feet to a car wash and on a 6,133 square foot lot. A car wash is not a permitted use in a C2 zoning district. Also, 6 parking spaces are required, no spaces are provided, and there is non-compliant screening. The site is 42 feet wide. The building has a width of 29 feet 7 inches. The site plan indicates that cars will enter the car wash building directly from West Merrick Road with no on-site queuing capacity, as the building is set back only 9 feet 8 inches from West Merrick Road. Vehicles will exit the site onto West Merrick Road via a 12-foot wide driveway that parallels the building to the west. To the south are homes. To the west, fronting on West Merrick Road, is an enterprise rent-a-car facility. To the north across West Merrick Road is a 1-story warehouse which may be vacant, and a car storage lot. To the east is a used car dealership. West Merrick Road is a county road and is 4 lanes with on-street metered parking. Staff opinion on this is to recommend denial. The proposed car wash is not appropriate use for the site, given the narrow width of the site and the minimal setback of the building from West Merrick Road, only about 9 feet. Cars would be entering the building from West Merrick Road. This minimal setback may be problematic in terms of cars queuing and potentially backing up onto West Merrick Road. Also, the site is quite narrow for the normal activities associated with a car wash, such as vacuuming, etc. Also, no parking spaces are provided.
Yeah, on this one, my reaction is, wow, 42 feet wide for a car wash with no parking and no place for queuing.
You could see how active car washes facilities can become, and they can cause quite a problem, even if they're more appropriately located than this. And this one is not appropriate. This particular site, in my opinion.
Okay.
I make a motion for denial.
All right.
NCPC 101-8122.
Do we have a second? Motion made and seconded. All in favor of the denial indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed indicate nay. Okay, denial is approved.
Okay, item number 4 on the zoning agenda is NCPC case number 10-18-222. And this is in the village of Farmingdale. And this is for area and dimensional variances in the residential BB multifamily zoning district. This is a proposed 2-story senior apartment development with 26 two-bedroom units on a 49,501 square foot subject property, which is a little over 1 acre. The units will be on the first and second floor. The following variances are required: insufficient frontage, minimum 200 feet, required 141 feet provided; insufficient lot area, minimum of 80,000 square feet required, 45,591 square feet provided; insufficient recreation area, and the project is parking compliant with 1.5 spaces per unit required, 40 spaces provided, so that's compliant. The relatively deep 374 foot and narrow 141 feet subject property is currently occupied by a 3-family brick dwelling with a detached garage and an auto body shop consisting of 2 buildings and outside car storage. All structures will be demolished. The buildings are all attached and arranged linearly east to west with front yard landscaping along Fulton Street. Access is provided via two one-way driveways entering and exiting with angled parking along the northerly and southerly property lines. To the northwest and east along Fulton Street are multifamily projects of a similar scale and height to what is being proposed. There is also a 4-story co-op development a short distance to the west along Fulton Street. To the south is a Long Island Railroad right-of-way. Thus, the character of this stretch of Fulton Street is one of garden apartments and townhouses. Fulton Street is 4 lanes with a wide shoulder and is divided by a raised landscape center median along this segment. Thus, left turns cannot be accommodated entering or exiting the site, which is a plus, actually. The site was previously before the Planning Commission on January 7, 2021 for an assisted living facility consisting of 138 beds. This plan never materialized, and it came back as this senior apartment development. Staff is recommending local determination.
Okay, commissioners, any questions, comments, or motion?
I make a motion 101-822 be LD.
Motion for an LD, is it seconded? Motion made and seconded. All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Not hearing any. Motion for an LD is approved.
Okay, the 5th case on the zoning agenda, NCPC case number 10-18322. This is Town of Hempstead, Hamlet of Uniondale, and this is a type of referral, is an inclusion of the property into the GSS gasoline service station overlay district and variances from provisions of said district and site plan review. This is a proposed gas station with convenience store on a 16,877 square foot subject property. The site is currently vacant, but was previously a gas station for many years. I was told from the 1930s. All structures were demolished about 1 year ago. The applicant is proposing to improve the property with a new fueling station, a canopy, 2 new underground storage tanks, a convenience store of about 2,500 square feet, paving and drainage, parking, landscaping, signage. 2 curb cuts are proposed on Uniondale Avenue. The southerly curb cut permits a right turn exit only and right and left turn enter. The northerly curb cut allows right turn exit only and right and left turn enter. The curb cut on Jerusalem Avenue allows right turn exit only and right and left turn enter. To the north is a strip of stores along Uniondale Avenue. To the east across Uniondale Avenue is a strip of stores. To the south across Jerusalem Avenue is a 7-Eleven. To the west is a vacant commercial building fronting on Jerusalem Avenue and a dwelling. Uniondale Avenue is 3 lanes with a dedicated southbound left turn lane at this intersectional approach. Parking is permitted on the east side of Uniondale Avenue. Jerusalem Avenue is 5 lanes with a dedicated eastbound left turn lane at the intersectional approach. Parking is prohibited along this stretch of Jerusalem Avenue. Both the Uniondale Avenue and Jerusalem Avenue are county roads. A variance is required for parking. 13 spaces required, 7 spaces provided. The BZA will have to approve this and other dimensional variances such as building setback, canopy setback, pump island setback. The town board approves variances from the requirements of the GSS overlay district. Several variances are required. It is important to note that the site was previously used as a gas station for many, many decades and has since been demolished. Approval of variances from the provision of the town's GSS overlay district are common, especially when gas stations are being reestablished at our site. And it's really more appropriate, like when you're building a gas station from scratch on a blank slate. The town instituted the GSS overlay district several years ago, and very few gas stations that are being reestablished or expanded actually comply with the requirements of this overlay district, so I don't have an issue with that. The project represents a significant upgrade from the vacant property and from the previous gas station use in terms of traffic flow and internal vehicular circulation. New facility will offer substantial improvement from the previous gas station use. The project has been or is in a process of being reviewed by traffic engineering as per 239F. To date, the traffic engineering unit, according to the engineer for the applicant, has had provided relatively minor comments. Staff is recommending local determination with a letter that addresses the possible prohibition of left turns into the site from the southerly curb cut on Uniondale Avenue. The curb cut is close to the intersection where southbound traffic on Uniondale Avenue, which makes this movement potentially problematic. Also, southbound traffic routinely backs up past this curb cut. Vehicles entering the site have other options than utilizing this southerly curb cut for left turns entering. So that's what staff is recommending, local determination with a letter.
Okay, commissioners, what have you? Do we have any questions, any comments? Or
I will also mention 239F, further review by DPW.
If we approve with a letter, the letter should also remind and point out that the 239F process will be required.
Yeah, that left turn in will never happen, right at the intersection.
Doesn't sound like a good idea from our engineer. Okay.
NCPC 101-8322 with the letter for a local determination.
Very good. LD with the letter. Do we have a second? Second. We have motion made and seconded. All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Not hearing any. The LD with the letter is approved. Last item, Marty?
Actually, second to last item.
Whoops, apologies.
No problem. Item number 6 on the zoning agenda is NCPC case number 1019122, Town of Oyster Bay, Hamlet of Woodbury, and it's for site plan review. This is a proposed warehouse consisting of about 45,000 square feet on an 8.9 acre site. The site is the former location of the News 12 Long Island facility. The two-story warehouse office building on the site will be demolished. A portion of the site has already been cleared. A grass area that fronts on Crossway Drive West will be developed and incorporated as part of the proposed warehouse. All covenants and restrictions relating to the former use will be lifted. Along with the proposed building, there will be exterior site work improvements, including subsurface drainage systems capable of containing all stormwater from a 3-inch rain event, new pavement, underground utilities, site lighting, signage, landscaping, and irrigation. The project is parking and zoning compliant under the light industrial zoning district, and no variances are required. The site is surrounded by offices and warehouse uses to the south, north, and east as part of the Crossways Office Park, Planned Industrial Park. To the west is the Seaford Oyster Bay Expressway. The town, as well as the applicant's engineer, have both indicated that the proposed project will be quote-unquote a conventional type warehouse and not a quote-unquote last mile facility similar to the Amazon facility that is now essentially complete on Robbins Lane in Syosset. A traffic parking impact analysis was prepared. A summary of traffic impacts was provided. Do you want me to read these, or?
No, I think the
Okay.
point for the record that is worth noting, we do sometimes have items that come before us where it's a significant development and there was no traffic analysis done. Here we do have an analysis done that was presented and reviewed by the TICRA committee.
Right. And the town's TICRA report, based on the consultant's traffic analysis, concluded that the proposed project will not have an adverse environmental impact on transportation resources. So that's...
and so the staff recommendation is an LD. Do we have any questions, comments, or a motion by the commission?
Motion to approve NCPC 1019122 with a local determination.
Okay, motion made, seconded? Second. Motion made and seconded. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, please say nay. Not hearing any, the item or local determination is approved.
Okay, this is the last item number 7, which is NCPC case number 1019222. This is within the village of Baxter Estates. It's an amendment to the zoning ordinance and a termination of a building moratorium. The proposed local law will effectively end the development moratorium in the Village Business A zoning district upon adoption of the amendments to the Business A zoning district. The end of the moratorium was to occur 12/31/22, but will now end in early November, assuming the BOT approves it. The village has deemed that the consultant's work has been completed. The Business A zoning district has been modified, proposed to be modified. It hasn't been adopted yet, based on the consultant's recommendations as well as BOT, village attorney, and public input. The initial moratorium and subsequent extensions were previously before the Planning Commission. In summation, the following amendments to the village's Business A district will be adopted by the BOT. Regarding permitted uses, the following uses in the Business A district will be deleted. One is a funeral home. 2 single and 2-family homes. The BOT has been authorized to review and approve special exception permits and has developed special exception criteria for multiple family dwellings and combined commercial and residential buildings in the Business A, not residential, in the Business A zoning district. Such criteria include facade review and site plan review by the BOT for the above-mentioned uses, minimum lot area for multifamily dwelling units, and unit size. Dry cleaning establishments have been removed as a conditional use within the Business A zoning district. Building height for buildings used partly as commercial and partly for residential purposes has been increased from 2.5 stories and 35 feet to 3 stories and 40 feet. The BOT will be authorized to reduce required amount of off-street parking and required drive aisle width when upon review and consideration of proposed uses, peak park and demand vehicle, and pedestrian access and circulation. And the BOT determines that such a reduction is consistent with public health, safety, and welfare. So It just can't do it arbitrarily. It has to meet certain standards and criteria. A new section entitled Facade Review has been added that will prevent excessive uniformity, dissimilarity, or poor quality of design. Except for ordinary maintenance and repairs, construction, reconstruction, or alteration of a facade will require a facade permit from the BOT, Board of Trustees. Staff recommends local determination.
So I just note for the record that this commission has raised concerns with moratorium that villages have done in the past, where it sometimes seemed that the moratorium was adopted and then it was extended for 6 months and extended for 6 months. Here we do see it coming to an end, and even coming to an end a little bit before their end date, and that they're adopting the changes that were recommended from the process. So this is the kind of thing that we want to commend. And do we have a comment, question, or a motion on this last item?
Recommend approval. NCPC case 10-19-222, local determination.
Okay, motion made. Do we have a second? Second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Not hearing any, the local determination is approved. Not seeing any other new business or such on our agenda, our meeting, I'll take a motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.